The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5:20, major wildfires wreaking havoc up and down the state. And just as crews begin to make some headway fighting these massive fires, more storms and lightning could make things worse.
Meantime, the smoke from those fires is making it very difficult for many to breathe. We'll have a look at the air quality alert and when we can expect some relief.
The Republican National Convention kicks off tonight with President Trump promising a message of hope and patriotism. We'll have a look at the lineup of speakers, which includes Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy. This is Monday, August 24th, 2020. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen here alongside Alex Fisher this morning. I know all weekend I have been feeling the effects of the smoke. And we're up here, up in Tehachapi, and we feel it up there just as much as it's happening down here.
I want to say this is like the worst that I've ever seen it,
at
least in a long time. It's just so bad. And if you're inside looking out, especially in the afternoon hours, it almost looks like the fog is burning off. If you didn't know how hot it was outside, you think, well, what is this, December? Because it looks like fog. But of course, the big question that a lot of us have is, is this going to stick around for several more days? And it looks like it may. Let's turn things over to Kevin Charette, who has a look at the air quality alert that is still in effect here in Kern.
Yeah, we might get some relief by the end of the week, but in the short term here, the smoke is still going to be around. And Maddie talked about the chance of thunderstorms. Not expecting those in Kern County, but we may see some down in San Diego County this afternoon. Right now, wants to put it in through 11 a.m. tomorrow. I think that'll be extended out. But again, by the end of the week, hopefully we'll get some relief. Still dark out there right now. Not much to see. 78 degrees and east-southeast wind at 3. Visibility at 6 miles. 59 degrees in Tehachapi right now. 4 miles on the visibility. An hour by hour here, starting out in the 60s, and then throughout the day, we should be in the lower 90s. I'll have much more in your pinpoint forecast that's coming up in just a bit.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. Our state continues to be in the middle of a crisis. California is burning, and the two of the 3 top wildfires in state history continues to burn just north of us. The largest fire right now is the LNU Lightning Complex. It's still scorching 5 counties in wine country. Take a look at this new video from over the weekend. This is what it looked like in Lake County over the weekend. LNU fires have scorched more than 347,000 acres and destroyed 845 buildings. Fire officials say at least 4 people have died. As of last night, these fires were 21% contained. More than 1,700 people from fire crews around the nation are helping fight the flames. And the CZU complex fire is burning in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This fire has forced over 77,000 people to evacuate. The fire has burned at least 74,000 acres, destroying at least 115 buildings. Officials say this fire is just 8% contained. Both the LNU and CZU fires were started by dry lightning last week. Governor Gavin Newsom said the state saw a record-breaking 12,000 lightning strikes within 72 hours. The smoke from these intense infernos is funneling into our county, and it's making the air we breathe very unhealthy for everyone. With at least 20 major wildfires across California, the Central Valley has been stuck with the smog. Experts say conditions will not improve until these fires are under control. Doctors say the bad air quality is bad for all of us. The dirty air has both long-term and immediate effects, such as an increase in heart attacks and strokes, as well as asthma attacks. The buildup of pollution particles also leads to higher rates of diabetes and hypertension. That's according to doctors. So the expert advice, same as for COVID, is to stay inside and limit your time outdoors.
And now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County. 225 new cases were reported yesterday morning by Kern Public Health. Currently, more than 28,000 people have tested positive for the novel virus since the pandemic began. Right now, nearly 17,000 people are recovering at home with the virus. 236 are being treated in the hospital. Our death toll stands at 240. In just a few hours, we expect new numbers from Public Health.
More than 176,000 people have died from COVID-19 here in the U.S., and according to a new poll, the pandemic is viewed through a partisan lens. Yesterday, CBS News and YouGov released a new poll surveying more than 2,200 registered voters of different backgrounds across the nation. Just 31% of those surveyed said the number of deaths from the pandemic is considered acceptable. But of respondents who identify themselves as Republicans, a majority, it's 57%, call the number of COVID deaths acceptable. Who's who identified as Democrats, only 10% called the number acceptable. The responders were also split along party lines when it comes to the administration's handling of the pandemic. Just 3% of Democrats said they thought President Trump was doing a good job, compared to 53% of Republicans.
A young teen is in critical condition this morning after a possible drive-by shooting at Lamont Park. The Kern County Sheriff's Office received reports of a shooting around 7:30 last night. They found the teen with wounds to his abdomen. He was rushed to the hospital, and right now deputies say they're investigating the incident as a drive-by. They say a green Jeep was spotted leaving the scene with people inside. If you have any information, call KCSO at 861-3110. And police continue to crack down on illegal street racing. Bakersfield Police and California Highway Patrol teamed up for a joint street racing enforcement operation Friday and Saturday. BPD says they arrested 6 people, cited 66 others, and impounded 28 cars. According to police, they located 3 stolen vehicles and 2 stolen guns. BPD says in the past months, they've received several complaints from people and business owners about street racing. Officers say they continue to investigate several injury crashes related to street racing activity. CHP and BPD say they're working together to put an end to illegal street racing.
Intense flames destroyed a building near Stramler Park. Take a look at this video that we received from one of our viewers. City and county firefighters responded just after 6 o'clock Sunday morning to the 2-alarm fire on K Street, just east of Chester Avenue and 40th Street. We reached out to the county fire department as well as the Bakersfield Fire Department, but have not heard back yet. This fire comes just weeks after 3 separate fires damaged multiple businesses in the same area. Fire officials have not yet said whether these fires are related.
5:08 is your time, and happening today, it's the first day back at school for kids in the Bakersfield City School District. The first day had initially been pushed back from August 17th because the district says a majority of its 30,000 students did not have access to internet connectivity after a delay in the delivery of hotspots from its service provider. Students will begin with distance learning this semester due to the COVID-19 pandemic. President Trump says the Food and Drug Administration has changed course on authorizing convalescent plasma as a potential COVID-19 treatment. It relies on the blood plasma of people who've recovered from the virus and have antibodies. Just last week, the president said the agency was hesitant to allow its use. Now the FDA says the benefits outweigh the risks.
The FDA has issued an emergency use authorization, and that's such a powerful term, emergency use authorization for a treatment known as convalescent plasma. This is a powerful therapy that transfuses very, very strong antibodies from the blood of recovered patients to help treat patients battling a current infection.
Studies of convalescent plasma show promising potential, but it has not been tested in randomized clinical trials. The need for plasma donations, though, continues here in Kern County. Houchin Community Blood Bank says more than 365 people have donated, but according to Kern Public Health, thousands have recovered from the virus. The blood bank is still offering survivors a $50 gift card to donate. That deal was going to end this past weekend, but it's been so popular, it's extending the offer again. For more information on how to donate, call 616-2575 or visit the website hcbb.com.
The Blessing Corner Ministries is helping families in time for the beginning of the new school year. This weekend, the church held a free drive-up giveaway with items families may need around this time of year. About 1,000 families received a bag full of items like cereal, milk, cheese, pasta, and more. The executive director of community outreach at the Blessing Corner says as kids prepare to start this new school year, they're doing what they can to help families needing a helping hand.
The Blessing Corner has always been a blessing to this community, and we are especially wanting to help the families that are out of work, the families with multiple children, the families that are trying to be the mothers and fathers and teachers of their children. And we thought right before school, to just pile up a few bags to help out.
Number one is done.
Bonnie Turner says they encourage kids to stay home and do their homework, and most importantly, stay safe as they begin this new school year with, again, a lot of school districts starting today, including the Bakersfield City School District. So,
yeah, the Blessing Corner is such a blessing to our community. 5:28 now. DoorDash has added grocery delivery to its app. More than 10,000 items will be available for delivery in under an hour, and 75 million people across the country should have access to the service. In California, users will be able to order from Smart and Final. DoorDash is also adding new partners like Hy-Vee and Gristetis and is working with Wegmans to deliver prepared meals. DoorDash started delivering items from convenience stores early in the pandemic and everyday essentials from big pharmacy chains last month. All right, thanks, Kev. Recapping our top stories, we have the latest numbers of the pandemic here in Kern County. 225 new cases were reported yesterday morning by Public Health. Currently, more than 28,000 people have tested positive for the novel virus since the pandemic started. Right now, nearly 17,000 people are recovering from home with the virus. 236 are in the hospital. The death toll stands at 240 here in Kern. In just a few hours, we expect an update from Kern Public Health.
Hundreds of fires are burning across California right now, and dozens of them are considered major. The largest fire right now, the LNU Lightning Complex. It's still scorching 5 counties in wine country. The fires have grown more than 347,000 acres and destroyed 845 buildings. Fire officials say at least 4 people have died. As of last night, the fires were 21% contained.
And the smoke from the fires is funneling into Kern County, making the air we breathe very unhealthy. With at least 20 major fires across the state, the Central Valley has been stuck with the smog. Experts say conditions won't improve until these fires are under control. Doctors say the bad air quality is bad for all of us. So the expert advice, same as for COVID, stay inside and limit your time outdoors.
In an effort to reduce pollution due to the poor air quality, Get is offering free rides for Bakersfield residents this week. The company announced all Get fixed routes and Get a Lift rides, which take riders to specific locations around town, are included in the free offer. Get says the offer lasted all day yesterday and will resume today. Well, President Trump prepares for the Republican National Convention today and plans to address his supporters from 2 locations.
Plus, the president faces a new controversy within his family and a battle over funding the Postal Service. Tracy Potts reports.
More protests in Charlotte overnight, hours before this morning's vote kicking off the Republican convention. The chair insists the in-person roll call is safe.
We tested everybody before they came to Charlotte. We have been testing people on site.
President Trump is expected to show up for his official nomination, then head back to Washington for the rest of the convention.
We're going to talk about the American story.
Donald Trump Jr. and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott are among tonight's featured speakers. Also in Washington today, the Postmaster General, a Trump donor, testifies after the House approved
the bill is passed.
$25 billion to ensure mail ballots are counted.
The public is demanding action on this now.
It's going absolutely nowhere.
And ahead of the president's big week, a rift in his family.
Donald's out for Donald, period.
Audio tapes of his sister, retired federal judge Marianne Trump Barry.
He has no principles, none.
The conversation secretly recorded by niece Mary Trump, who wrote a tell-all book about the president.
What family member tapes another family member for 15 hours secretly?
The Trump team dismissing it as sibling rivalry. And new overnight, Joe Biden with 2 words.
Watch me.
Responding to President Trump questioning his mental fitness. And there's big news out of the White House. Advisor and former Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway says she's leaving next month to spend more time with family. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
5:35 is your time now. Twitter puts a warning notice on one of President Trump's tweets. Mr. Trump sent the tweet just before 7:30 yesterday morning on mail drop boxes, calling them a security disaster and a big fraud. Twitter since put a banner above the tweet saying the tweet violated the Twitter rules about civic and election integrity. The Gulf Coast region is on edge this morning with two storms churning toward the shoreline.
Yeah, you just heard Kevin talking about it earlier this morning. The first is Marco, expected to make landfall this afternoon in South Louisiana. The second strike will come just a couple of days later, and forecasters warn Laura could be a major hurricane by the time it reaches the shore. NBC's Jay Gray has more.
Good morning, Maddie. Good morning, Alex. From Bourbon Street, where normally you'd hear some kind of music, there's always an energy here around the Croc, but the entire French Quarter is unusually quiet right now. Some businesses, like this one, don't seem all that worried. Just next door, though, this restaurant completely boarded up with the effects of Marco expected in the next few hours here, and Laura looming right now.
The Big Easy, a bit uneasy right now, with two tropical systems targeting the Louisiana Gulf Coast.
So we're going to get basically a right hook from Marco and then a left hook from Laura.
Bracing for the fight, some are blocking or boarding up what they can and making sure they have the essentials to ride out the storm.
Batteries, probably flashlights, stocking up on food, and trying to park the car in the highest point possible we can find.
Others in this area below sea level are heading for higher ground.
We can't really handle a regular rainstorm and a flood, so I said imagine two storms coming back to back in less than a week. That means they tell you it's time to go.
Marco could lose a little energy before landfall expected this afternoon. Currently, it's tracking just west of New Orleans, leaving the city on the dirty or strong side of the storm. Laura is a much larger and more powerful system that forecasters say will likely intensify before crossing the coast.
It is expected to be a Category 2, a very strong Category 2. There is definitely the possibility that it could be a little bit stronger and be a Category 3.
Lashing the islands as it grows and takes aim at the Gulf, evidence of the strength of the system and a sober warning for those in the track of the storms.
Now, the time to prepare is really over at this point here. In fact, officials warning residents across the area overnight. Where they are right now is where they should stay hunkered down for the next 72 hours or so. In New Orleans, Jay Gray, 17 News.
Welcome back. Your time now is 5:48. Terrifying moments inside a Kentucky mall over the weekend after police say a fight led to a deadly shooting. Police say at least 3 people were shot at the Fayette Mall in Lexington. One of them later died. Grayson Passmore talked with witnesses.
I heard pop, 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 3 loud noises, 3 gunshots, and I saw everybody running, and we all just ran.
What Fayette Mall goer Linda describes as the sound of fireworks was something far less celebratory Sunday afternoon.
It was hundreds of people running through Dillard's. Everybody ran.
Instant mass chaos inside the packed mall after Lexington police say at least 3 people were shot.
He pulled his gun and it was face level. He shot that man right in the head. He had to.
Too traumatized to go on camera, Emily says she and her friends were shopping in the Bath & Body Works when a group of about 4 or 5 young guys started fighting right in front of them.
They started throwing punches. One of them got mad.
That's when Emily said one of the men pulled a gun out and started firing.
And they booked it and we all ran towards the back. And as we ran towards the back, they shut the gates and they shut us in the back room and they locked the door.
Emily says store employees immediately called the police, LPD getting the group out through a side door.
They tried to keep us out of the blood. They were trying to keep us to the side.
The trail of blood, the only thing left separating Emily and her friends from the safety they weren't sure they were going to see again.
These were kids, man. That's their whole life's gone. That's so stupid. That's their whole life.
Grayson Passmore reporting. An officer-involved shooting led to protests in Wisconsin overnight. One man is in critical condition in the hospital after being shot by an officer with the Kenosha Police Department yesterday. Officers say they had been responding to a domestic incident before the shooting happened. A graphic video purported to be on the shooting was posted on Facebook, Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers identified the victim as Jacob Blake. Evers said Blake was shot multiple times and critically wounded. The officers involved have been placed on administrative leave. State authorities are investigating.
Yesterday marked night 87 of protests in Portland, Oregon. Demonstrators spent hours protesting in front of the police department. The group marches daily and calls for the abolition of the police force and prison system, according to social media posts. Police declared the group an unlawful assembly and then a riot after reporting rocks and bottles had been thrown and lasers pointed toward officers. Witnesses say a few awnings on the precinct were set on fire. Another protest Saturday was also declared a riot. They dispersed the crowd with white smoke and flash canisters.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.